Hey everybody, this is Jackie with Jackie's Recent Things. And today we're going to do a cemetery saddle. Typically these come flattened out, not bent. Um, I'm repurposing the one from my grandparents. I change it out quite often, so this one's perfectly fine. No reason to not reuse it. So what we're going to do, the first thing is we're going to put the foam block on the cemetery saddle. This has spikes in it, so I'm going to line it up both sides. Take a look, and I'm going to spike that down on there like so. But to make sure that it doesn't blow off, I'll pull the block back off. Low temp with your glue, otherwise you will melt the styrofoam. And I'm going to shoot hot glue into the holes. You can find these where it already has the block on them. Some of them, like the ones you get at Hobby Lobby, you will have to zip tie the block on. So, okay, the first thing we want to do is basically put what's called the skirt on. The skirt is just going to basically trying to cover up this part. It also is going to dictate how big it's going to be. I don't want mine to be really, really big. So what I'm going to do is, this is how the leather fern comes. I'm going to cut this part off, this smaller stem off, to where it's shorter, so my skirt won't be as big. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the top and side and just start there in the center. And then I'm going to bend these down. Like I said, this is just to cover. So it's just basically a skirt. The other reason I shorten these up is so that they don't cover the gravestone too much. So I am going into the side. I'm spacing these probably about 2 inches apart as I go. Now, if you do make a great deal of these or plan on making a great deal of these, you will want to get a glue pot to make this go faster. That way you can just dip and go. For my business, I don't advertise that I do these. It's my personal preference. I do have people that do order these from me. So I put one in the center because I'm just going to put some on either side on the end. Still bending them down. if you deal with florals, it's very important to get a good pair of cutters. The ones that they sell at Walmart in the floral section are too small and too dainty and not going to really get the job done. On a regular basis, I recommend that you go to Lowe's, Home Depot, and just purchase a good pair of wire cutters. I use Cobalt. Also, when I do cemetery saddles, typically I don't spend a lot on the florals. The reason I don't spend a lot on the florals, they are going to fade in the sun. It's one of those things you just might as well accept it. Don't worry about extending the life. I see a lot of people ask, well, can I spray on? Don't spray it. Just don't spend as much money on the florals so you don't have to charge as much. Because these are going to be directly out in the sun. And you're at the mercy of God. My price point for mine is I try to keep mine basically at $65. If they're wanting larger, obviously, because it's going to be bigger, it's going to take more material. And that will be up to the customer at that point. If you are an asymmetrical person like I am, you should be able to just rock these out. So 12 leather fern come in a package, so it'll take you about 2 to go around the saddle. So at this point, yes, you can still see the floral block. Not too bad. So I'm going to bend these down just a little bit more. When customers ask me to make these, they usually have a picture on hand, and I ask them to send me a picture of the headstone so that I know where the lettering and everything is, so I don't cover it. Alright, so now we have a nice skirt on here, and like I said, this is just your skirt. You are just using this to cover the mechanics of the floral block. See how that's covered up now? So now you actually want to get into the florals. So typically, what I do is you'll have your 2 flowers up to 3 flowers. You want them to stage down in size. That's not what I want to do with this one. So basically what we're going to do, for me to show as an example, is the yellow one we're going to use, and we're going to pretend that this one is your big flower. This is going to be my main focal point. So I will start directly in the center with this one. Like so. So you're going to go directly in the center, and that's where you're going to start. Now your spacing is going to be depending on the size of your flower. I know that I have that I'm going to add greenery, and I'm going to add another set of tulips. I don't want my other set of tulips to be cramped. We're also going to cut these stems down a little bit shorter because we want kind of a rounded shape, which I'll show you in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and space these out, and I'm going to go just a little bit lower. And I'm going to do the same thing with these, and I'm going to point them out. So I'm going to angle these in. So see how it's stair steps down in shape? That's what you're looking to do with your first row. But you're going to continue to do that as you go on. So what I'm going to do with my next row is I'm actually going to go between. I'm going to offset and go between. And the height for the first two is going to be like almost is the same height as the ones next to my top one. And then once again, I'm going to go between these two and stair step down in size. Like so. So see the shape that we're creating with our flowers? See how I went between and I left space. But I'm gonna bend these out just a little bit. Because I kind of want them facing me just a little bit more. So we want everything to be matchy-matchy. So I'm going to come to the other side and repeat the process and do the same thing over again with the other side. I'm going to go between the flowers and kind of point them out. Each time going a little bit shorter. The other thing that's really, really important is that your first flower that you put in really is going to determine the size. So I would say that mine's about 6 inches off the floral block. If you want a really big cemetery saddle, you're going to want to put that higher. So now I'm ready to come in with my orange. Now my first two orange are going to stand as tall as my center. They're going to go either side and stand as tall. Notice I'm pushing my stems up because I want that greenery to show. So I push the greenery stem up. I'm trying to find two that have a, there we go, two that have a long stem to put in for my first ones. I want to make sure the stem's long enough before I cut it. So I'm going to go directly between the flowers. Like I said, the first two are going to be the same height. And now I'm going to go shorter. So it's a gradual slope down. So just be careful as you start your slope. It's always better to measure once and cut twice. So it's always better if you cut just a little bit long just to be safe. So here's our shape that we have now. Notice it's rounded. It's tapering down. So now I'm going to come to the outside. And once again, still going directly in the center between the first flowers that I put in. Pushing the greenery up if that's what needs to be done. And tapering down in size. So see how our shape is? So we're going to come around and do the same thing on the other side with the orange. Place the one in the center first. So if you're noticing, this is a very asymmetrical design. So if you have OCD like me, this will be perfect for you. Okay, so now we want to come down just a little further and fill out the front. So I'm going to go back with my yellow flower, start with it. And I'm going to come out the front, tilt it down just a little bit to come out the front. So I'm keeping my spacing even. Now that we've established our flower colors, it will go a little bit quicker between rotating between the two colors. And still coming out, you're wanting to still continue your fan in shape. Notice what a beautiful, nice, pleasant shape that we have going. Very symmetrical. That's what you basically want doing a cemetery saddle. So now we're going to come around the other side and do this, repeat the same thing over again on the outer edge. Tilted those out a bit far, so let's reel them back in. Once you get the hang of doing these, they actually go pretty quick. Like I said, if you do the great deal, if you want to plan on doing a great deal of these, definitely get a glue pot so you can just dip and go. This was also actually where a pick machine would come into play, because you want to make sure the flowers don't blow out. So that would give an extra added support to your flowers. See what a nice, beautiful, even shape that we have? So now we want to come to the end and add some flowers here. So we want to keep in mind the shape that we're wanting to hold, and that's why I always do this last. Because this is going to, the first flower that I put in is going to be a little bit shorter. We're wanting to continue that taper down. So if you had one large flower or one smaller flower, my orange, for argument's sake, for this, you would pretend is your smaller flower. But always when you're doing these, start out with your biggest flower. That way you get a good enough spacing. I typically just buy my florals at Walmart, or I get whatever is on sale at Trees of Trends based on the color that the customer wants. I try really hard not to put more than $25 of florals into these. So you see how we have a really, really nice, beautiful shape. So now we have our florals on, we're going to start adding our greenery or our filler. We're going to get this filled in. What I've chosen is a really good mix that I found at Walmart. It's got some purple in it. It's got eucalyptus. It's got the grass. So that's what I chose to use for this project. You want your greenery to go just slightly shorter than your flower when you're adding it. So I'm going to cut my stem pretty short, let it fly in my face for a second. And I'm just going to go between the flowers like so. I'm going between, not between this way, between this way. And just like we started out, it'll step down in size. So I'm going directly between the flowers. This row and this row, I'm going dead between, like these, I'll go between. I'm making sure that my grass is pointing out this way. And that's just how this particular greenery goes. And the reason I'm doing that is because we're going to come back on this side. So I'm just being a little bit picky where that is concerned. Now on these last, we're going to have to cut the grass off. And that's okay to get it short enough. And that's just the way this particular stem goes. But we're not going to throw that grass away because I love putting grass in different projects. So I'm just going to set it to the side. See how it's starting to fill out really nice? So I'm going to go ahead and grab these and come around to the other side and do the same thing. Now at this point with putting the greenery in, you probably don't need to flip back and forth. I just prefer to. When I first started doing these, I was so panicked about covering the floral block up that it was just way too much of a priority and I wasn't doing it right. As time went by, I realized once I get done adding my greenery, the floral block is covered up. See what we have? So now I'm going to come directly between these and I'm going to fill this out. And then you'll see once I get this part done that the floral block disappears. Make sure when you pick your greenery that you don't pick something that's going to tower over your florals. What I do is I'll hold my greenery stem up next to my florals. And I'll down here at the base and I'll make sure that it's going to stand up. And not tower over my flowers. So I'm going out to the outer edge. And now this time I'm going between these. And I'm going to go between them again. Like so. Don't forget, always pull your greenery apart, fluff it out, do what you need to do. And you will need more greenery than flowers. All right, now we got that filled out. On this side, let's go and finish filling out the other side. So we're going between the rows, basically. I don't know why, but it looks like I missed that, so I'm going to grab that and fill that in. So now I'm going to come around to the ends. And put the filler pieces there. I don't know why. I just like doing the ends last. And now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look, see if I've got any holes. If I've got any holes where I can still see floral block, I'm going to just tap some greenery in there. And on my way around, de-spider web it. Can't help but get the cobwebs. So I ran out of greenery and I still see some holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some greenery. And I'm going to cut it down really short because I want it to go as close to the floral block as possible so I don't see the floral block. So I've got eucalyptus in here. And so I'm just going to cut this down really short. So the reason I'm going this far is for those of you that might have OCDs like me. And you're like, I can't stand seeing this floral block. It's killing me. So you want to take your greenery and you're going to go, like I said, really short with it. Make sure you fluff it around into those holes. Because if you fluff it around into the holes, you will use less. As opposed to but like I said, I'm one, I just can't handle seeing the floral block. Some people it doesn't bother them at all. But it bothers me. It makes it, to me, it makes it look like an unfinished product. Or half-assed, should I say. So I always now, instead of worrying about it from the start, I worry about it later on. And I pick a very short, full greenery to kind of just put in there to fill those spaces out that bother me. The more confidence you have in your finished product, the better you'll be able to present it to your customer and the better price point that you'll get. If you're not confident in what you're presenting, I think sometimes customers can I think they can smell that. I really do. If you have leftover greenery and you're like, I just want to finish using it. So we didn't use this, and I'm not even going to bother cutting it. We didn't use it in other places. So you can actually just go around and add this, like this grass, into your skirt. If you don't want to use it somewhere else later on. And that just adds a little something extra to your skirt. And it brings more of your arrangement down. So if you save your pieces like that are part of your greenery and just too long, just spike them on down into the skirt. I personally don't like having to deal with leftovers. I really don't like storing them. So usually I'm going to try to find a way to go ahead and incorporate them into my design. On the way around, I found a hole. Not happy with it. I also feel like the customer paid for the greenery, so I might as well do my best to put everything in here that they paid for. In this case, the grass really helps because it kind of masks and adds to the leather fern a little bit. I don't like cobwebs, y'all. They'll never get done if you feel like you've got a whole glue stick of cobwebs on your arrangement. Usually I don't end up with this many cobwebs because I go pretty slow with my glue gun. Got one piece of grass left. I went pretty even all the way around. So I'm just gonna sneak it in right here. So a little trick to getting rid of glue stick, if you have a heat gun, the cobwebs, you can actually take your heat gun and you can actually blow it over the cobwebs and they will just disappear. So that's a little trick to quickly getting rid of cobwebs on a floral design. Just don't put the heat gun too close to your floral design. If you could see the cobwebs better, I would show you. But that's just a neat little trick as I'm picking the cobwebs off. But I will get my heat gun out and just go over this and make them disappear. There we have it. Cemetary saddle, y'all. Super easy to do. You just really got to pay attention to your shape when you're starting out. I think this will look I think this is going to be beautiful on my grandparents' grave site. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Bye, y'all.